I'm rocking along with the music. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. And oh my goodness, well, tonight, every featured guest speaker that I bring to you is phenomenal and fantastic. And tonight, our leading lady, I want you to help me to welcome her. But before I bring her up, I want to say again, welcome. It's always good to spend time and space with you. I am Joy Ruffin. I work as a style and leadership consultant, a signature style specialist speaker, executive producer, TV host, and podcaster. It's a lot, but it's all aligned. But tonight we're talking about one of my favorite things in addition and in alignment with style, and that's leadership. Oh, so tonight we're going to be talking with our featured guest speaker, Leslie Grossman, and my engineer is going to bring her up. Leslie, hello, 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 and welcome. I can't tell you how excited I am to have you here because leadership is at the top of my list. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Joy. I am so excited about being here with you.
You're no more excited than I am, my friend, because when I meet women who are in leadership and proactive women, which you are, I'm absolutely over the moon to meet them. Now, most people are more interested not in the backstory, they want to hear the front story. So tell us a little bit about exactly what you're doing here and now.
Well, Joy, I am really living the life I love. I mean, I have always lived the life I love, even in the past, but I'm very fortunate that way. But now my vision is creating gender equity across the board for women everywhere. And that's the vision I have. And I really, recently the World Economic Forum said it would take 132 years until we would have global gender equity. When I saw that number, I just said, this cannot be. And I am going to work harder at it because I'm not going to be around in 132 years. And we can't wait that long, can we? The world can't wait.
No. And you are diving right into where I want to take us, because for me, style and leadership is all aligned, because leadership means knowing who you are and why you're here and what you're to do purpose. But equity and equality go hand in hand, and especially for women. And we drop the ball somewhere. It doesn't matter when, where, and how, because of the male dominant in leadership. But we're changing that. And I'm not waiting around for 100 years either. So I'm with you all the way. Why do we need more women leaders in the world, Leslie? I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, we could say it all we want, but guess what? There's a tremendous amount of research now out there, and it's been coming out by places like Harvard Business Review, McKinsey, and other places that say that the organizations that have an equal number of women in the top leadership positions are the most successful. They're more profitable, they treat their people better, they retain their people better, they do more innovative things, because there's more diversity of thought, because women think about things differently than men do. And that comes from the way our brains are, because our brains are, and there's research on that too. So today, we used to say it because we knew it intuitively, but it's not just intuitive now. We have the facts behind us based on research that it really just creates better everything when women are up there with men.
Yes. And I like the way you ended that, because how you said that, when women, a large number of women, are up there with men, equals, with equal pay, equity, equality, side by side. I like that. And diversity is the key. And you mentioned one of my favorite words, Leslie, intuition. Women have it, but men have it too. But we absolutely are able, for whatever the reasons are, I'm not a psychologist, we're able to utilize it more so. And that said, you spoke to this, but tell us a little bit, how do women lead differently? You spoke to it briefly, but what are some of the other characteristics and traits and skills that we as females, women, leaders, ladies, bring to the table?
Okay, I'm glad you asked me that, because first of all, it starts with our brains. And now there is documented evidence with that. Men, we have different brains than male brains. And it's not that they're better than male brains, they're different. Men are linear thinkers. They focus on one thing. And that's really a good thing. And that's something we women sometimes need more of, because our brains, we are circular thinkers and we have web thinking. We can think about a lot of different things at the same time. We weigh things, and they are linear. Now, there is a time that we need the linear thinking, and then there's times that we need that circular web thinking, and putting it together is what makes it so powerful, and understanding what each sex brings to the table. That's why we both need to be at the table, and we need to be aware and listening to each other. So that's where it
And
starts. That's where one
oh,
of the main things, it's a physical thing right there.
right there. And brilliantly explained to us, Leslie, because the linear and the circular brain and how we operate, obviously the more successful you are, the more you're able to align and use them contingent upon what's needed. And we as
Exactly.
women, we've always been known more for multitasking, which is
Right.
another way or means of saying circular, but there's so many explanations of that. And then too, what ties into that, Leslie, would be balance, finding
Yes,
that balance, which
that's
somehow
right.
in that men aren't using the emotional DNA, which we could just come to the plate with naturally. They're able to keep the balance more in alignment, but too much so. So that's a great description. So tell us a little bit more about how and what research tells us about the differences, because the
Yeah,
timing is now for women to step into their power. I
that's
love the
right.
word power, Leslie. How do you feel about the word power?
It's very important, because without power, you can't make change. You need power to make change. And the change that needs to be made, really, most of it is coming from women. And when you look at a lot of things that are happening in the world and organizations that have been formed, they've been
Yes.
created by women. And by the way, I'd like to also point out that some of the most powerful women right now happen to be Black women, and they
Yes.
are doing amazing things. They tend to be less fearful than white women are about moving forward. And that's why even in it's so important for us to be multiracial as well, because all these differences between people is what makes the greatest power and makes the best world for us all. It really does. We can learn from each other.
Well, that's what diversity and inclusion is all about.
That's
And
right.
that's why, Leslie, I don't know how much you're into the spiritual realm, but whatever realm you're in, whatever religious or spiritual take you have, it's going to get more and more as we go into the next years here, especially by 2027. Diversity and inclusion will be at the top of everyone's list, because that's
That,
what it is. And what you said about how Black women are at the top more so than others, it's because Black women have always ruled the household, but
mhm,
low under key type of thing, and now
right,
rising to a different type of standard. But I love
right.
that. Why do you think that this is a time, or why do you feel that now is a time for women to step up into their power and take their seat at the table or stand at the table? Why?
Well, let me just go back a little bit if I can, Joy. And
Do, do, yes.
and I mean, we just came through a pandemic, right? And there was a lot of, and maybe it's still happening. In fact, we have three things going on at the same time right now that people have to
Yes.
stay healthy about. But the point is that there was a research that was done before the pandemic started, and
Uh-huh.
then it was done during the pandemic. And what they found was this study was published in the Harvard Business Review, by the way,
Good.
that they did 360-degree interviews with people in the corporate world, men and women, and they asked them about their bosses, and they separated men and women from it. And what they found out was that women scored slightly higher as leaders than men did. And then once we were into the pandemic and coming out of it again, but people were working through it, women scored even higher. And that was because when they were rated on empathy and how they related to their employees, the women scored much higher than the men. And that's what people needed when they were working and going through the pandemic. So that brings us to today, right?
Yes. Yes.
And that is what is needed more than ever today with what's the changes going on, the hybrid workforce, the remote workforce. And we have to be, flexibility is needed. And
Yes.
women are more willing to allow that to happen than men.
Well, we're
So,
back to where we started with that empathy and adding into that intuition. And you're
mhm,
adding in that ability that women have more so than men, especially they're able to perceive and to feel and to see, and then to connect and communicate to who they have to communicate to so that they're able to get through. And that
that's
is a big factor. In conjunction with that, here's something else I want to tickle your brain with, Leslie, because I
yeah,
love to do this. You mentioned bosses as opposed to leaders. Bosses is a word that when it comes to women, I've never been a favorite of for this
yeah,
reason. I think women are more into leadership. They are leaders, they are not bosses. Yet, there are a lot of businesses and companies that use that word bosses a lot. Why do you think that is? Because even with the best, highest connotation attached to it, I think one would rather be labeled a leader, a fabulous, fantastic leader, as opposed to a boss. Now, how does that set with you?
yeah. I mean, a boss is not necessarily a leader right away. Just because
Yes,
you're in a higher position than somebody does not make you a leader at all.
exactly.
You
Exactly.
know, and so there are people, we could call them managers. That would be another thing to call them instead of a leader. But I really believe that no matter what level or layer you are in an organization or your own organization for that
Yes.
matter, leadership is something we all need to learn. And it doesn't always, and for the most part, it doesn't come naturally. Some people perhaps because they've had role models to inspire them, but often their model was not a leader. And if we model the way we manage people after, let's say, bosses that were not
Yeah.
leaders,
Yeah.
not going to be we're not going to be successful. And because it's the people that are truly leaders that truly bring to their people, that care about their people and know
Yes.
how to lead them to be successful, that's what we need in this country now.
I like that. I like that for a lot of reasons, but I want to piggyback on something that you said that's really major, the different layers. Because the best leaders, and you started off a while back to explain to us how women were in the lead because they had more empathy. When it
Mhm.
comes to leaders, really good leaders, I think the beginning seed for all of us, for you, for me, for everyone, get to know how to manage your own self, your
Yes.
emotional intelligence, so that you can empathize and relate and connect to other people. So when you said that, the different layers and how one leads, that really resonated with me. I really, really received that. Tell us what are some today, even we know, but we want to hear it from you. What are some of the main reasons or causes that are roadblocks for women even today when it comes to leadership?
Yes. Well, one of them is women's tendency to, and not, this is not all women. I want you to know anything I say is not 100% across the board. It's,
Never all.
but one that I see in so many women is a tendency to go after perfectionism, and that
Oh,
everything has to be exactly right. And the reason that that's a problem, there's a lot of reasons actually. One of them is that if we're a perfectionist and we say that everything has to be done a certain way, we either don't delegate to others, which is a problem because if we think we have to do everything ourselves, we'll never move up into another role. We will never.
absolutely.
And we have to learn how to delegate effectively and know that not everybody is going to be perfect. And maybe there are things that good is good enough. Not everything has to be perfect, right? And, I lead a mastermind, and this is often comes up because women carry it into their homes too. What holds women back from moving forward? Sometimes it's because they say, well, I can't balance. What is balance? Well, my house has to look perfect. I have to make the perfect meal. I have to be the perfect mother. And then how can I also be a leader at work? No, you can't. Because guess what? Your house doesn't have to look perfect all the time. And what about asking if you have a partner to share in that? And if he or she does not do it exactly the way you want it, don't make a big deal. At least they can help you. So, I mean, we
Leslie,
have to look at ourselves and say,
I'm
does everything
I'm
have to be
chuckling away. I'm chuckling away because you're preaching to the choir and all of us in different ways, because this word balance, which is a major word, an important word, but we as women, this is what I know for sure with certainty, and so do you, and everyone who's tuning in here now and those who will come later for the replay. We have been, as women, we have all been so programmed and conditioned to having everything so underneath the umbrella of the partner that we're with, that we still continue with that. And what you ended with is no, you don't. We don't have to have the perfect anything. And that's the beauty of understanding, embracing that now so that we can move forward and learn more in that multitasking that is innate to us, how to delegate. That's the key, right?
right. Exactly. Exactly. And also with the whole multitasking thing, it's like,
Yes.
how people love to, especially women, you have a list, right? It's got 100 things on it. But guess what? They're not all equal. Pick out the three most important things on it, and that's what you focus on first. Not those little things that you can get done in 10 minutes. It makes you feel better because you crossed off 20 things, but they weren't 20 things that even really mattered. The
I
the
know.
most important things are what we need to focus on. See, that's one of the things about men that we could learn a little from them. They focus and they let those little things go. It drives us crazy sometimes, but it's actually in some ways a very good thing.
I
So
hear
we
you. I hear you.
have to figure it
That's
out.
a good, yeah, yes. I tell you, Leslie, you're giving us so many jewels here, and I'm loving it all. And there's so much to dovetail back on. I'm going to take a quick little break, but when I come back, I want to speak to the differences that we started off with, the linear and the circular and so on, and speak more to that. And what you said before I leave here now, you said that we have to learn how to become the best leaders that we can be. And that's very much a part of my DNA as well as yours. So stay tuned. I'm going to be back with you in just a second. If Carol will take me out now, I just want to say hello and welcome to each and every one of you here, whether now or for the replay. And my Facebook page was hacked, so I'm not able to connect there, but you can find us everywhere else: YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and everywhere. I want to invite you to follow my Facebook group, Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies. Legacy, that's the key word. We're not here just for ourselves. We're here to leave something for all of those who follow us. Leslie said that we can't wait as women for 100 years to get our equity and equality. We're doing it now, and I want you to be a part of this. My Meet with Joy link is here. I want you to take a screenshot or a snapshot or get to my website, and I want you to connect with me. What I'm doing here with Leslie Grossman, whom I just absolutely love and applaud and celebrate the work that she's doing, because it's all about women and leadership. And that's where we all have to go, no matter what realm of work we're in. And so join me in the Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies Facebook group and click the Meet with Joy link, and let's Zoom and get to know each other further. Because what I'm doing with Leslie, I'd love to be able to do with you as well. Love to see you. Thanks for being here always. Leslie, one of the things that happens here is, how do we achieve equality of male and female leaders? We spoke to it here and there, but how can we be more succinct in sharing with our audience how we can really get to that equity? Equity and equality, in my humble opinion, they go together. So how do we reach out and do more of that? I like what you said about we first need to learn how to learn leadership, learn about ourselves, and then start to apply it. So take us a little bit further down that road.
Well, I will tell you that on my, as you know, I teach several programs at George
Yes.
Washington University, but I
Yes.
also, and they're all executive women's leadership programs. They're not for students. They're for women that are already working in their own
In
businesses,
corporate.
they're in a corporate job, a nonprofit. They might be a lawyer, whatever. However, if you went to my website where I have a different organization, Her Circle Leadership, I
I
spell
love
out
that.
7 tenets of highly effective women leaders. And those are the things that we need to focus on. And I just want to mention one of them because it really relates to
Please.
you, Joy. And I know that what you do is really help women in how they look, how they present themselves, and fashion and all of that. And it is really very important.
Very important.
One of the tenets of leadership is leadership presence. And it's how we look, how we present ourselves as a leader. Because the first thing that communicates to people that you are in the presence of a leader is how you carry yourself, how you look. And it used to be only how you walked in the room and and that included your clothes and everything else, which doesn't have to be expensive or all of that.
No,
It's a
at
certain
all.
look and how you stand and how you carry yourself. Now we're online. We have to
Yes.
look a certain way online.
Yes.
I mean,
We do.
just today, Joy, I was on with a very, very successful publisher, and we were preparing for something we're going to do together. And
Uh-huh.
she was small on the screen in the
Uh-huh.
corner. And I was like, you see me now, or like you see
Yes.
you now.
Okay. Yes,
And
yes,
I
yes.
could barely see her. And I said to her, I'd like you to try to adjust your camera and your lighting so that you're in the middle of the screen and we can see you because you're looking like you're shrinking. And she said, yeah, I kind of do that intentionally. And I said,
Really?
why? See, and the interesting thing is that women often don't realize that how they project, what they're projecting, their image that they're projecting is how they come across to other people. So one of the tenets, in addition to courage, confidence, communication, and all that, is leadership presence and how
Yes.
you look. So I wanted to make sure to add that because I know that that's a focus of what you do. And I want people to know it's very important in terms of our success as an
Oh,
entrepreneur,
Leslie.
as a business leader, in anything, as in a non-for-profit, whatever it is you are doing. The way you project yourself, the way you look is very, very important. It's how people see you. That's the first impression that they have about you. And the first impression is often a lasting impression.
Well, thank
So
you for that because I really I'm celebrating you more now because that is my work. And what you mentioned, the example that you shared with us is so beyond paramount in our lives to take in because your presence and one of my key words, Leslie, and the image and the carriage and your demeanor and how you show up, it matters. It really matters. And we can no longer hide behind anything. We have to step into the spotlight and shine, whatever that
right,
means to you. And I
that's
love that you're about that because so many women now, with the casual mode being so prevalent, they have recessed and gone backwards when we need to be stepping more forward. So I really value you for that. What are some of the tips that you can share with women, a couple of nuggets that will help those who are thinking about maybe moving more up the ladder into leadership?
right.
What are some of the things that you would share with them that would benefit them on their journey?
Well, one of the things that I hear very often from women is that they feel that they are not heard. They are not heard. Like at a meeting, they don't speak up, but that's because the last meeting they were interrupted by somebody, or they've had the experience of they make a suggestion at the meeting, right? They could make a contribution and no one pays much attention to them. By the way, there's usually a majority of men at the meeting, or women that are kind of sitting back because they're women and they're not. And then 2 minutes later, a man will make the same
Yes.
suggestion and everybody will say, oh, what a good idea. And the woman had said that 5 minutes before. So that is a very common thing that happens to
Woo.
women. So, but we
That,
have a solution for that.
good,
Now,
good, good.
now I actually have two solutions for that. One is
Okay.
the ideal thing is we partner with somebody, usually another woman, it could be with a man, before the meeting, and we make an agreement with that person that if you are interrupted, the other person will bring it back to you. In other words, they'll say, "Excuse me, John, uh, Joy was just speaking. I want to hear the rest of what she has to say first." So we have another woman that brings it back to you, and you do that for each other. And the other thing is the same thing. Somebody suggests something 5 minutes later that you just suggested, and that person, your partner, says, "Yes, exactly. When Joy said it 5 minutes ago, I thought it was a good idea." So it's really great that you agree, or
Leslie,
something like
that is brilliant because that again ties into something that I'm very gung ho about, 1+100%, and that is women aligning with one another, collaborating, sharing, and exchanging with one another, always in cahoots with one another. All of this separation and all of that other nonsense, we don't have time for that anymore. So that
that.
suggestion that you're ending us with is fabulous. I love it, and we need all of us, no matter what generation you're in and what level you're at whatever, we need to take that to heart. Leslie, time flies here. I don't know where it goes, but it goes. But I know you have a very important event tomorrow. Would you like to share a little bit with us about it so those who come later for the replay and look at this will be able to join you, and they will be joining you? Tell us a little bit about that as briefly as you can.
I sure will. We are launching something called the Global Women's Leadership Channel, and it's on Compro, COMMPRO.biz. And it is a channel full of resources, podcasts, articles to support women as leaders in the world, wherever you are, all over the world. And it's content. And tomorrow we're doing an event to kick it off, and with a panel discussion. And it is, but tomorrow is Women Supporting Women Day all over the country, just to what you
I love
said.
it.
So that's what we're doing tomorrow.
I love it. I love it. I love you and the work that you're doing. I will always be in your camp. I will always be supporting you. I don't have to ask because I know it's coming right back to me. Thank you, Leslie, more than ever. We're going to put you in the green room while I say so long to the audience, but thank you, thank you, thank you. You delivered a lot of jewels to us. Definitely.
Thank you so much, Joy.
You are more than welcome. Let me just say the time goes here. It flies. I don't know where it goes, but it flies. And I'd like to end with this because it's my ending and it's from my heart to your heart. Until the next time, I'm sending you much, much love and all the best. Be and stay well. Cheers.